be so lonely. If you're leaving, baby, let me down slowly. Let me down. Let me down.
What's good, JK? So, as you guys know, I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. Fact. Cyberman tattoo right here to prove it. Ooh, look at that. Look at that sexiness. But, I thought I'd talk about something that I dislike about my favorite TV show. I don't mind talking crap about the stuff that I hate. Like, I'm not going to praise every aspect of the show because every TV show that you like will have its downsides. Like, I didn't like some of the writing for Series 11. I thought it was lazy. I thought it was scripts to a different show. But that's not what we're talking about today. We are talking about the current TARDIS interior because I love the TARDIS. The TARDIS is one of my favorite bits about the whole show. And this TARDIS, I hate with a passion. It is god-awful. It's ugly. Should never be made. But I do have my reasons for hating it. Like, look right here. Like, this is not a good concept. Maybe for another Time Lord. Maybe. Refreshing. But not for the Doctor's TARDIS. Like, I do have my reasons, and don't get me wrong, there's some aspects about this room that I love. I think were great ideas. But as a whole, I just don't like it. And here are my reasons why. Some pros. Like, let's start off with on a positive note. Like, what aspects do I love about this TARDIS? Exhibit A. The walls. The walls, I think, are a great pattern. It brings a lot of classic... it has regular roundels instead of, like octagon shapes like the previous couple rooms have. Like, I think that was a great classic touch, and it gave a bit of new series into it, and I thought that was genius, and I love the pattern. Like, look at this pattern. It's just unique. It's cool. It looks good. But how, we're not getting into the negatives just yet, but another thing I love about the TARDIS is the doorway. I thought that was actually really good, like having a full TARDIS police box, like as the Chameleon Circuit does. And I like that they brought back the classic shape of the inner doorway, like how it just... You know what I mean? You see it right here. You can see it, right? I didn't forget that, did I? But, yeah, like, I like the doorway, I like the walls, but what else do I like about this TARDIS? I thought the colors were good. I kind of like the orange, like, kind of like the hints of orange from the previous console room. I like the orange of the last one, and I like that the color with the orange and the blue, that looked cool. Although I did think Dalek spaceship when I saw it, but we're not getting into that just yet. I like how the whole time rotor went up and down. I thought that was a good classic touch because it's just being the tube time rotor that goes to the ceiling. I like that they brought back the single cylinder that went up and down on its own, I thought, although it wasn't really a cylinder, but basic point, yeah. I like the stairwell that they had in Series 12. I thought that looked cool. But, that's all I got to praise the console room for, because the rest of it just kills it. So, as we're done praising the things I love about this console room, let's talk about the absolute shit bits. Like, don't get me wrong, I think the guy who designed this console room had the right intentions. I thought he had some good ideas for the certain aspects that I love, but when he brought all the other aspects in, it just did not work. Like, I love, like, something that I praised the previous console room for is that it brought back that spaceship feel. The fact that it didn't look like a mesh of different technologies. It looked unique, it looked classic, it looked new, it looked timeless. Okay, that was irony by accident, but you get what I mean. It had that classic feel and that new feel to it that I loved so much. But they decided to throw all that out, like, with this new console room. And the console itself, like, let's just talk about that real quick, because I could not tell what the frick was going on there. It didn't even look like a TARDIS console. It looked like a shrine that belonged in a factory. Like, what? Okay, real quick though. The custard cream dispenser, I thought was funny. I thought that was a great touch. Let's add that into the pros, okay? That is a good pro. I thought that was so fun, you know, but the console itself did not work. The levers, they look good, but they were in the wrong areas. I couldn't tell what was going on. It still looked like a freaking Dalek spaceship. Like, you don't expect to go on the TARDIS and be like, yeah, exterminate! No, that's not what you're expecting. Duh. Like, how do I say this? The crystals looked ugly as hell. Like, the crystal feature, like, for any other Time Lord's TARDIS, it might have looked good. Like, the Ronnies, it might have looked good. If Rassilon had a TARDIS, it would have looked good. But it just didn't work. I get what the idea was, like the crystal columns put power into the center time rotor, but the center crystal, they didn't even call it time rotor in the frickin', it was just a crystal. That's not how the TARDIS works. Like, after all this time, you know how a TARDIS is supposed to look. I loved the classic newer look that they gave the Joe Martin Doctor and the other TARDIS from the Timeless Children. I thought that was pretty cool, but the crystal feature just looks too terrible. It just didn't work. It doesn't work still. I hope to God they change the TARDIS. Like, I just don't like it. I'm sorry for anyone who may like this TARDIS. Like, I don't think a lot of people do, but crystals just didn't work. And moving on from the console, like, well, actually, let's talk about one more thing. How do you work the console? There's only like two things I could tell would fly the TARDIS, and that's like a few like dials and the lever. Like, I just couldn't tell. Like, what's with the crystal TARDIS spinny thing? Like, some people think it's the chameleon circuit, which I think would make sense, but since it doesn't work, it just doesn't make sense for it to be there. It just looks like a desk ornament. The lever looked like it would do something. Some of the dials look like it would do something, but I get they were trying to go for analog because Jodie Whittaker is supposedly a hands-on actress. I get that. But there was just too much to, like, figure out. Like, you couldn't see, like, with the previous few TARDISes, you could see all the dials, you could see all the switches, you could see basically how to work it. With everything else on the current TARDIS room, it just doesn't make sense. Like, Like, even the simplest TARDIS, like the secondary console room from the Fourth Doctor's era, season 14, there were, like, handles and you just push buttons. That's it. That's all you could do, all you were supposed to do. But that made sense. That made perfect sense. There were no buttons on this current one. There was a lever, there was a spinny TARDIS thing, there was a cookie dispenser I don't get, but I thought was fun. Everything else just didn't make sense for it. But let's move on from the console now. It's too cramped. Like, the center area, it's way too enclosed and cramped. And for a TARDIS crew as big as it is, but I mean, Graham and Ryan are leaving at the end of this upcoming episode. You just couldn't tell. Like, well, no, not you couldn't tell. You couldn't understand how they could all fit in there, because they're always standing on the platform, like they're not moving around the rest of the TARDIS. Like, it looks like a big room, but when they get to the console, it's too cramped. They never move anywhere else. Like, it way too cramped is what I'm saying. And just the fact that it's too dark and dreary just doesn't match Jodie Whittaker's Doctor is another complaint I have, because Jodie Whittaker is like upbeat Doctor. She's fun. She's crazy. You don't know what she's gonna do next. She gives off this Matt Smith vibe with a bit of Patrick Troughton thrown in, or Tom Baker, in fact, or even Sylvester McCoy. I think she is brilliant, just brilliant. But the TARDIS just does not match her personality. Like, I keep saying it looks like a Dalek spaceship. That's because it does. Like, I don't blame Jodie for it. I don't blame any of the actors or, like, the writers or stuff, but the designer was designing another alien ship. They weren't designing a TARDIS. But I think that if I just, it just doesn't match Jodie. It doesn't work at all for the thrill of the seasons. But I do think there is room for improvement on this TARDIS. I mean, I don't think it's a complete lost hope. If they just got rid of the crystals and replaced, like, the entire console, I think it would work. Just remove the console, build a new one, like a more like a. I mean, I agree with analog. I think that's a cool idea, but don't, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Trying to think of it. Brighten up the room. Make a new analog console that looks more TARDIS-y, not like mechanical puke like this one. Like, just clean. Maybe make it round like maybe I'll draw up something. I'll put a picture of what I think a new console would look good in that TARDIS looks like right here. I apologize for my bad hand drawing right now, but I think if they use something more like this, then it might work better. Get rid of the crystals and, like, the pillars altogether, because the pillars just make it too cramped in there. Like, I like the walls. I think they're brilliant. I just think if you lighten up the room, maybe have, like, orange lighting coming through the walls, I think that would be interesting. I think that would be really cool. Maybe add, like, a chair, like the previous TARDISes. Like, most of the TARDISes have had a chair for the Doctor to sit in, like, collect his thoughts, think a bit. But it lacks that homely feel that the TARDIS usually has. If they had maybe a piece of furniture, maybe like they did have a scientific table in Resolution, which I thought was cool. I thought that was fun. I thought that was a good idea. But they got rid of it soon after, and then they put in the stairs. That's nice, and she sat down on the stairs, but it's not really a homely feel that usual the TARDIS gives off. But yeah, I do think there's room for improvement on the TARDIS, and if they improved the console, got rid of the pillars, I think TARDIS would look amazing. Even if they and maybe change the lighting. Like the lighting is too dark and dreary. This Doctor is a light personality, a light-hearted. Like even maybe a rainbow color scheme for the TARDIS. I think that would have matched her way, way, way more. Like I just don't get this TARDIS. It doesn't make sense to me. I can't figure out how to make it work like other TARDISes. It just doesn't make sense. I feel like I'm just ranting off at this point. I'm just mumbling nonsense, but I'm out of water. But yeah, I do think there's room for improvement, but this TARDIS does not work for Jodie at all. Absolutely not. Like, I don't think it would work for any Doctor, honestly. Maybe the War Doctor. The War Doctor, a slight chance it could work. But I think if they got rid of the I should probably end the video now, but I will say this: I do love the exterior too. The sort of turquoise hue of the interior of the exterior, the police box, and like the dark blue pulled open sign and stuff like that. I think that looks good. But this TARDIS does like all the cons weigh out the pros, which is a tragedy because usually I've always found something to love about every TARDIS console room. Like even if it sucked, I found something that outweighed all the cons about it. But there is just no saving this TARDIS if they don't change certain aspects about it. Like it's just got like with all the dead bits, there's just no saving this with all the cons, there's no saving the pros of this TARDIS room, which is an unfortunate tragedy, and I think they need to fix this. Maybe even completely redesign the console room to fit Jodie more accurately, because she's such a lighthearted character and she is such an amazing actress, and I feel so bad that that the first female Doctor, one of my favorites, honestly, even though some of her writing wasn't good, one of my favorites has to fly around in my least favorite TARDIS console room. Like, I didn't even like the Ronnie's TARDIS console room, and still, it's better than this one, and that's so sad that I have to say that, but it's true, and I just feel like they need to fix it. So, yeah. Who knows what Series 13 has in store for us. Jodie's already confirmed it's not her last season. Like usually in the last few years, Doctors leave after 3 seasons and a few specials. But I'm so happy she's going to be staying around, and I hope story writing gets better. I hope they change this TARDIS, because it's just a tragedy that we have to live in a age that this TARDIS is. Hang on, let me change the lighting for the last. Can you see the green? No, you can't. I'm looking at it right now. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. I'm sorry if it's just me ranting a lot and repeating myself, but I just can't stand this TARDIS. What the fuck? thank you for watching. If you're a Doctor Who fan, congratulations. You've joined the greatest fandom in the world. If you're a regular JK watcher, why? If you're a friend of mine, go fuck yourself. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But thank you for watching. I'd love to hear like the other JK's members' thoughts on different console rooms if they want to take a look at them. So I'd just like to say thank you for watching. Thank you for having our backs after all these years, and maybe if we can grow the channel, that will be great. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, my rant, and we will see you in the next video. Stay awesome, JK. Love you. You know you are. We are JK. Bye.